Alright, what you see here is a Casablanca stealth ceiling fan. It was made on May 29th, 1991, and it was the 29th fan made that day. Because it was made in 1991, as you can see, it has a stepped hang through, and I do have a recall clip that I got from Coats Makeup on it. And because it's also from 1991, this is the first year that they sold the stealth. And because of that, it runs off of a comfort touch control. I got this off of eBay for a pretty decent amount of money. Came with rosewood blades, but I figured I'd show it with the black blades that I got from my brushed nickel one, which was my first stealth. But I've always liked the look of these contemporary fans in the all gloss black look. Some Westinghouse fans, or like even Regency ones, I know they had like a few of them that were similar. You know, bladed versions as well. So yeah, I always loved all black glass look on these types of fans. But yeah, this fan, I honestly am really considering installing in my living room here, if it weren't for the fact that the blades could warp, because the clearance on it would be fine. However, if I was able to figure out a way to rig up some track lighting in the back of the living room without it needing to be plugged in like a remote controlled one, then I'd probably actually swap the Infiniti out for this. Showed a picture of this fan with the rosewood blades to my mom, and she said that she wouldn't mind me putting this one up in the living room. So it could happen. Not keeping any promises, but if not, it's definitely going to be installed when I get my own place. I kind of want to save it for my own place instead of putting it in the living room here, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's an absolutely gorgeous fan. The fan's almost 30 years old, and you'd think it was only like maybe 10 years old at the most. And these fans really changed the fan industry quite a bit in terms of design. It was like basically the first fan of its kind, and there's many companies that have built models very similar to this over the years. This is definitely the one that started it all. And it's a fan that's still being sold to this day, except it's just not in this finish no more. They sell it in white and brushed nickel still. Those are the only two finishes from the 90s that they still sell. They originally sold these in gloss black, what you see here, white, and then polished brass originally, and then they discontinued that and sold a Satan brass version, and then they discontinued that one as well. And then they introduced brushed nickel to the later 90s. But it was also around the time that some of these weren't selling well. I mean, in 1991, since it was a new fan, it was like still a fan that wasn't like trending too much. Like it was like a new thing completely. And then later on it started to pick up, but this is a very early one. And in fact, especially with like the brushed nickel one that I have, that's from like the late 90s. That was like before brushed nickel really became a trend, so to find one from that era in that finish is pretty uncommon. But yeah, let me go ahead and turn on the light. Keep forgetting I can just hold it down and it'll dim it as well. I'd even install it with the all black look, to be honest, since I know my mom prefers to have something with contrast and not all black. And now let's test how well it lights up the space. Lights up the space pretty well. Obviously you can't see the fan too well. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is, since it is under control, I'm not sure if I would to like just shut it off by the wall switch, if that could mess it up, if I would have to like shut off from the control and then the fan switch like on the wall, because that's something I feel like my mom would do often, and I would be afraid of it getting messed up because of it. So yeah, was that? For that being said, let's go ahead and start off on speed one. And also before that, maybe go ahead and show the Casablanca tag, which is right here. I can't really see it. Forgot that they have them on the side. But, whatever. So obviously that's Casablanca anyways. Now, when I did a video of it with the rosewood blades, for some reason I guess the recoil clip wasn't holding the ball properly, so I guess I might have pushed it upwards so the ball was hanging down a bit lower. Because I was able to see the ball quite a bit, and now I notice there's a difference. So I guess I didn't put it in properly. Luckily, it didn't fall when I was testing it. Well, I mean, it hung up for like almost 30 years without a recoil clip, so I really don't see it happening right away. But it's always better to be safe than sorry. Well, yeah, this one I wouldn't mind installing. I wouldn't have an issue installing it in the living room. It's just, I mean, the lighting clearance would not be an issue at all because the light wasn't hanging down on this at all. So it would be perfect. Actually, you'd almost see the same height as the Infiniti in a sense, in terms of blade clearance. No, I just would like to find another type of lighting source for the living room. Since I like to light up my wall art that I have there, the Michael Jackson painting, the Stevie Wonder picture, and the Carlos Santana one. With this, I wouldn't be able to really shine light on those that well and make them look more presentable. So I would definitely have to find like something else if I was to put this there. Plus, it would be right next to the kitchen as well, and in a space where my mom leaves the door open a lot and the windows to get fresh air, so I feel like the blades could warp on this easily. And that's the other reason why I'm kind of hesitant on putting this there. If it was in my bedroom, that's a different story. No, even in my bedroom, the Panama's blades are starting to warp a bit, so I'm kind of I'm really against putting this up only for the fact that I wouldn't want the blades to warp on it so much like the other ones are. Yeah, I remember seeing Cole's video of his and the all black look, and I absolutely loved it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to and that's why got me to replicate it in this video. I'm seeing all of those Regency catalogs. They'd always have like that, a few of those gloss black contemporary fans like these. Really reminds me of the early '90s contemporary fans I'd see as a kid. That were in the all gloss black finish. If this apartment wasn't so close to the ocean like it is, I wouldn't put this up without a question, because just with it being so close to the ocean, I know that causes a lot of humidity and such, and I just don't want the blades to get ruined on it. And it's because it's not just regular Casablanca blades, it's stealth blades, so it would be a bit harder to find replacement for these, especially in rosewood. That's another thing. You know, it does seem like it'd be a bit difficult for it to warp. At the same time, I don't want to risk it. But it's not going anywhere. I'm obviously holding on to it. The Hermosa I wouldn't mind risking with, but this I definitely don't want to take that risk. Definitely will give it like a movie theater look in the living room, which I definitely would like. Infiniti kind of does that, but this one definitely will give it more of a movie theater look, or like a TV room look. Now for speed 2, which is an actual low speed. The other one's more of a aesthetic low. The other thing is, if I was to put this in the living room and the control was to get misplaced, to find it to turn it on would be kind of a pain, because what holds this control is Velcro and such. I could always just like glue it onto that thing, but I really wouldn't want to do that. Also, the control is a bit yellowed, which doesn't bother me too much, but it does a little bit. But I don't know. The other thing is, actually, since my mom lets the birds fly around a bit, I feel like that one, the weight on them sitting on this fan blades could mess up the flywheel, which is the last thing I'd want it to happen. That's the other reason why I prefer not to. If there's like one of these spinner motor versions, like the newer ones they have nowadays, that's a different story. But flywheel fan in living room where my mom sometimes let the birds fly around loose, I feel like having a few of them on the flywheel could definitely warp it or bend it. And it does look to be a tiny bit bent as it is already, so definitely don't want it to mess it up more. It's one thing if I was the one to let the birds out, but like if they were to sit on it, I'd get them off it right away. My mom, she kind of is very careless about it, just lets them sit on it. I told them they can just sit on the bathroom one, since the blades are not very small, so it wouldn't really put strain on it as much as like a fan of longer blades. But she doesn't listen, so. But yeah, I know a lot of people want to see more Casablanca fans. Thing is, most of the ones I do have are IT, so I'm not trying to just test a ton of 3-speed ones, because a lot of those are kind of the same thing, just in a different finish. And because of that, it does take me a bit longer to film the 6-speed Casablanca fans like this one, so it takes more time for me to edit them, process them, upload them. So definitely just please be patient is all I'm saying. Because they're like this one definitely takes me a few hours to do, like a good 3 to 4 hours almost, just to do a few videos out of it, due to all the speeds it has. So like by the time you've seen this, a few other ones will have been tested. Definitely gonna have to like put some of the spinner motors, 3-speed stuff up, like for the time being, which is what I kind of been doing, or the K55 stuff that are 3-speed, and then every now and then throw one of these in at a 6-speed. Because honestly, the videos on these will be a lot longer since it's a 6-speed fan. All right, now to move it up to speed 3. I kind of like though that when I like move it up to the next speed, it kind of already is on the next speed. I'd even consider putting this in my bedroom, but I definitely would need something that would light up the room a little bit better. As it kind of points more downward this way. What I do have the lamp, it's just my room's kind of big, so I kind of need something that lights up the whole room, not just a portion of it. For the living room, it would be fine. It's just, again, I just need to find something to light up the back area. That like just like have like a light above like the bathroom door and have it shine against the pictures there. If I can do that, then it won't be an issue in terms of lighting. But this definitely would be a really cool fan to have, like, have the light on the lowest setting and watch like a movie or something. That's kind of what another reason why I'm really tempted to put this one up in there, because I've always wanted to have like a very dark lighting in there for like nighttime when I'm watching stuff. Like watching just like some anime or like just TV shows, movies at night. I'm not sure if an LED bulb on if they make LED bulbs for these type of lights. I know dimmable LEDs can work with IT, but I'm not sure if they make dimmable um, LEDs of this for this type of light bulbs, like one of those really tiny ones. If not, I wouldn't mind using this. Just I know this light bulb does make the motor heat up a bit, which is my only concern for it, and kind of my only reason why I'm not really the biggest fan of incandescents, because they do heat up a lot. The last thing I'd want for it is to like fry the electronics inside of it. See, like if it was at the old apartment where the birds didn't really fly around in the living room as much, I would have this in the living room without a question. Plus, there the windows we kept closed always because they were broken and such. So the blades wouldn't really get warped there like they do in this location. Even though in the other location we were closer to the ocean, basically, it was like right in front of it. It's this. For some reason, right here it's more humid. I don't know why. But I think it could also just be that like the sun hits this area all day long, like the side of the building. So it makes it a bit hotter here, I guess. All right, now for speed 4. I would have to change the box in the living room though if I was to install this, which I'm not sure. Maybe it wouldn't be that difficult to swap it out because there's like a pancake box in there. Just not one that could hold up to this much weight. I'll just see. Maybe I can check in with Nathan and see like if it would be that simple of a swap. If it is, this could go up, but. Because even though the Infinity's a big childhood fan, these are pretty big childhood fans for me as well. These are like the type of fans I've always wanted. I always would have liked to have had in the living room as well as a kid. Kind of same case with like the Hampton Bay Windward and like the brushed steel furniture. I always thought that would have looked cool in my living room at the old place. Even though it would have looked a bit too updated for that space, I feel like it would have looked cool. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the contemporary looking fans and somewhat dated looking spaces look pretty cool. Especially if they're like a kind of a dated looking one as well. I don't know, I'm always like been a person that's like kind of likes to mix and match like older decor with like newer. I don't know. It's like kind of like an older setting, but kind of have it with some newer stuff. Kind of like to mix and match with like different time periods, I guess, or different eras. Like keep the core elements of like an older like the house like kept the older parts like the frames and everything, but most of it has been updated. So like in that sense, like that's kind of what I mean by like kind of like doing a mixture of old and new. Like there's some places like I've seen like keep the old bathroom tiles and just paint the walls like a more modern color and such. Like that's something I would definitely do. I was actually considering doing it with this bathroom, but my mom didn't want a gray bathroom. She wanted something that was like green or bluish. So it was up to me. I would have done it gray. I think that would have looked pretty cool. I mean, the thing does move more in than my panel in the bedroom, so I would kind of feel like the panel would feel weak at a certain at a certain point if I kept using this one for in the living room, which is the exact opposite. Cause unless like I had it on the downer, which I could also do because there is a fan. I did get a fan lifter, so I could always try to put that one on the fan lifter and such. Just now it's kind of tricky to do electrical work here because I did tell my mom I wouldn't do it no more, but she said, okay, I could put this one there. So I guess she's kind of on the fence about it, but I don't know. At the same time, with the Panama, it's like it's only just to have it hang a little bit lower, so it's not like it would make that big of a difference. At the same time, I have the Honeywell right above my bed, so if I need extra air movement, which is what I usually do. All right, now it's speed 5. The fan doesn't really wobble on speed 5 like it did when I had the rosewood blades on it. So it's either the recall clip keeping it from wobbling, or actually no, what it is I tied the hang through screws for it to be even more tighter because it goes above the box to hang through since of the way it mounts and such. So I tightened them even more so it wouldn't shake around so much. So it's definitely that. But seeing how it doesn't even wobble at all on high speed, on this speed like it was with the rosewood blades, definitely makes me more comfortable if I was to install it somewhere. But even on this speed, yeah, it moves a very good amount of air. See, like I guess I could always like have it on this speed on in the living room instead of the full speed, which I know would definitely make my mom uncomfortable since due to an accident she had as a kid with a metal antique fan without a guard on it hitting her. And ever since then, anytime she sees a fast fan, it kind of reminds her of that and such. I honestly did not think I would be this tempted to try and install that fan there. But just having it up in action, I'm definitely falling in love with it even more than I already was. All right, now I moved up to speed 6, which is the highest speed on it. definitely running pretty fast. You know, it looks, now that I can see it with the black blades, it makes it, it's kind of hard to tell if that's the flywheel, like the motor, that's bouncing around. Let me get a little bit higher. Yeah, it looks like it's a flywheel, but I don't know why it makes it look like the motor is bouncing around quite a bit. Yeah, no, the clearance on this would definitely not be an issue in the living room at all. It's just more the flywheel. I'm afraid of it getting bent over time from almost to let the birds sit on it. And the blades warping in there. I mean, at the end of the day, blades are bound to warp it and such. And at least I have like a spare set. Like I could always put these blades on if it was to get if they were getting too warped, just so I can fix them and such. Definitely would miss the Infiniti up there, but I already know I definitely would love this up there quite a bit. Who knows, maybe if I was to put this one up, I definitely would have to, instead of putting the panel in my room on a fan lifter, that way the air movement will feel more equal. I mean, it's not like I'm changing the whole entire fan system. I'm just extending the downward on it and putting it up, so it wouldn't really be that long. Take too long to do that. Start off and you spin down. It's pretty humid today as well, so the fact that it's moving this much air is a pretty good thing. It's like 90% humidity. I mean, at the same time, the blades on this is a lot higher quality than the Hunter blades, so I really don't see these warping so much as like blades on that. But at the same time, glass blades do tend to warp more. But I'm not sure if that would be the case with blades like this. And I can see like the blades on the Hermosa, the rosewood blade, with the glass rosewood blades like offer it warping a bit. But I'm not sure if that would be the case with these. Or the rosewood ones that this fan came with, that is. Do apologize for the video being a bit longer than normal. It's just if it being on HB, I do like to show it in as much detail as possible. Hence why I do the no commentary videos on the iMovie ones, for those who just want to see a better video of it just without the commentary and such. Well, the iMovie one's more like higher quality type and such. Yeah, and the no commentary is just me showing the fan in action. So for less commentaries, it's not as long of a video, but with it being a 6-speed fan, it definitely will make it a longer video still either way. I'm just like, I just feel like if I'm gonna take the time to put it up and all that, assemble it, I might as well get a decent video out of it and just not show it on each speed for like 5 seconds like some other people do. Now I can really like test how well it performs on each speed while running it run on each speed for a decent amount of time. Alright, it's come to a complete stop. And I forgot to show it earlier, but this is where you can reverse all the settings on it. I mean, one thing I can definitely say is if I was to install this, the light wouldn't really get used all that much except for like nighttime and such. So even if we were to if I was to install it, I wouldn't have to worry about it like using too much electricity, because even the Infiniti, we rarely use the lights on it except for like homework and such, having it shine straight down while doing paperwork. But at the same time, with the type of light this is, that will kind of do the same thing anyways. So it would kind of give the same like purpose of lighting that I have like for the Infiniti. It's definitely a very good chance I'm actually going to install this there, to be honest. And since I got the okay from my mom basically to put it up. But we'll see what happens. I still need to see about the box and such, if it's really worth changing out or not. And at least it will be more powerful than the kitchen fan, because even the low profile plus in the kitchen moves more air than the Infiniti, surprisingly enough. Although Infiniti does hang a tiny bit higher in terms of like the blades and such on it, so that's probably what it is. Oh wow, it's already 33 minutes in. Maybe make it quicker. There we go. The good thing about this fan is that at least, like, it's not IT, but it's Comfort Touch, and at least with the Comfort Touch, it's pretty simple to control it for someone who doesn't really know how to operate IntelliTouch fans and such. So since it's a remote and it's kind of simple to show like up, down, and such. instead of pressing the buttons multiple times, like with the IT, at least it's more simple. So, yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.